Hi, this session you're about to watch is called Encouraging Interactivity in the World of Me. It's all about using interactive displays, whether they be flat panel or projection displays, and what those applications look like. It would be wrong of me not to talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that is Smart Technology, who invented this industry, really, right? I mean, Smart really invented the interactive display industry with that electronic whiteboard concept, and they basically owned the schools. I mean, they probably had a 99% or 98% market share for a dozen years. But now, I put them up here intentionally because they aren't the only player in the room anymore. They are still the big name. They are the Kleenex, right? We talked about that earlier, the industry. But in reality, some of the new and better technologies are coming from companies that didn't start in the interactive side of things. So if I were to just kind of throw up applications, these are real applications of interactivity that exist that are low-hanging fruit. And you can see some museum examples in here. How about touch tables? Think about if you going into a restaurant 10 years from today versus today when touch tables are everywhere, because that table can be whatever we want it to be. We can turn it off and make it just a table, right? If we were having a romantic dinner, we can turn it on and watch a game. I mean, and we're only months away from the technology of being able to take a monitor that's mounted inside a table and flip it so that one person can watch one game and the other can watch another game, or for that matter, they each see the game not upside down. So that one of them's not watching it upside down while the other one's watching upside down. So touch table technology in the restaurant business and in education, right? And in brainstorming meetings, like why are we collaborating this way when we're all sitting at a table anyway? Why not collaborate in front of the table and then have that projected up above at the same time? So we're barely scratching the surface. The great thing about this is that you're all getting in the industry right as the industry is beginning. So this is, even though smart board's been around for a long, they focused on one segment of the industry. It's now going to explode outside of just education and go everywhere. I think we'd all agree interactivity makes meetings more engaging. It makes a bad presenter more interesting sometimes, right? I mean, even bad presenters can become more interesting if they actually can interact with their own material. And the meetings are more interesting. Now we could explode that across every industry that is in trouble like that. I mean, if you think about traditional education, like college traditional education, sitting in a classroom. If you think that that's going to be around 20 or 30 years from now, the way it is now, where you just sit in a classroom and take notes from a teacher basically lecturing to you, it's very unlikely, right? You see this growth in University of Phoenix in online education, where you can take classes when you want to take them, how you want to take them. And then, of course, you've seen schools like Arizona State University, University of Florida, Ohio State University, where they've added interactivity to every classroom, or most classrooms, where they've sort of exploded outside that box and also allowed people who couldn't come to class, who were sick in their dorm, have the same sort of class experience by logging on. So it goes well beyond sort of the obvious interactivity. So some of the most popular, I think probably most of you know these off the top of your head, system applications for interactivity are obviously retail. You're seeing that now. You go into any Nordstrom, if you go into the section where anyone under the age of 30 goes, you'll see interactivity in those stores. Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister, those types of stores, retail. Multi-site meeting applications, right, where you're collaborating on not just visually, but collaborating on documents together, all from WebEx all the way up through more professional applications like what Cisco offers. Huddle rooms, interior designers using touch tables, right, to literally design rooms, design homes, grabbing fabric and putting things together in real time with the client there, rather than designing something, going to the client, then going back and redesigning, going back to the client, making it more interactive experience. Ad agency, classrooms, lobbies. We've already talked about the example of wayfinding and informational purposes, and of course, meeting rooms, we're all in that industry. And then digital signage. I mean, really kind of where the interactive touch and interactive market jumped outside of education originally was digital signage market about 10 years ago. So that's where we're seeing, we still see a huge amount of growth in digital signage. Anytime you're making lists of ideas and to-do lists and things that need to be given to certain people to do, obviously interactivity helps there because you're able to deliver that immediately. Screen sharing, the Sharp Aqueous boards have the ability to literally screen scrape, basically, for lack of a better term. So whatever you're showing as content on your source display, whether that be a laptop or a desktop computer, is shown wirelessly, or you can connect it wired, or can show wirelessly through the network on the interactive display there, and then you can interact with it. So all the same functionality, the whiteboarding functionality you get on a traditional whiteboard, you can do in the presentation itself, and it's bidirectional. Unlike any other company out there, Sharp also makes all the other business products that you use to collaborate documents with. So while you're collaborating, you can then obviously automatically produce output that's in paper if you want that, and also sent to the cloud. And they have that whole back-end document process all integrated in with the Smart Aqueous board, with the Sharp Aqueous board. So it's not like you have to go to a third-party company to get the cloud documentation to connect to your company server products. They're all automatically compatible. And then finally, open platform versus proprietary. Of all the interactive display companies on the market today, Sharp is the only one that has an open platform design. So therefore, you're not tied to a specific operating system and their apps. So for example, there are third-party companies building apps for compatibility with the Aqueous board as well. So it means that their products work with Windows and Mac and also Android devices, so you can send content from any of those devices to Sharp, but also the usability of any of their apps works on all those devices as well. And they've opened up the platform for developers so that developers can build apps. So if you have an idea for something that can be done on an interactive board, you could theoretically, if you want to develop it, you could develop that idea. It's not a closed platform. It's completely an open platform.